Hey everyone, Joshua T. Osborne here, and welcome to this amazing training put together for all of you today. This lesson is going to be on natural law and the seven-figure agency equation. These are two things that you've definitely never heard before. This is going to be a lesson that you want to pay close attention to. These two things are fundamentally important. Natural law is what governs. It's the law of nature, the law of how everything works. It's extremely important. It's probably the most important thing there is. And the seven-figure agency equation is the fundamental equation that all business works on. If we boil business down to just simple mathematical equations, I'm going to show you what it looks like and how it works. So you're never going to be stuck in a situation where you can't figure things out, because this equation is quite literally responsible for everything. This is going to be a very powerful lesson, so pay close attention and let's get right to it. Here's what we're going to cover today. First of all, we're going to talk about what natural law is and why it's of extreme importance. Then, cause and effect and the governing equation of fractional evolution and human life. We're also going to talk about cause and effect and how that comes into your everyday life as a human, as a business owner, and as a starting out entrepreneur. And the governing equation, like the master algorithm of evolution. How does the human species evolve? How do animals evolve? How do plants and everything in the world actually evolve over time? And what is that equation? It's really important that you understand this. Then, we're going to talk about why most people suffer as a victim to life due to fallibility from three key things. Why do most people think, oh, poor me, or things are just happening to me, or the world is against me, or I just seem to have bad luck? Why do people seem to think that? Why, on the other end of the spectrum, are there people that just seem to have all the best luck in the world? What is fallibility? Humans, are we invincible or are we really fallible? Fallible. I'm going to explain what that means and the three key things about why we are so fallible and how to fix that. Then, I'm going to talk about the eighth wonder of the world. This is something that you haven't been using in your business or your life. This is something that we as human beings forget all the time. The eighth wonder of the world. Finally, I'm going to introduce you to the seven-figure agency equation. So very similar to the governing equation of human evolution. I'm going to show you the governing equation for the seven-figure agency and how we can boil any business down to a simple equation and figure out exactly what the solution is in any given situation or scenario, and how you can use it to create value as a marketer. A lot of people, they think, how do you create value? How do you go out into this world and make seven-figure money? Let's say I'm in a poor situation right now, right? I'm broke, I'm living at home with my parents, and I don't know much. I don't feel like I know anything really, right? Okay, so how do you go from that position where you are now to someone who does know something and being someone who can make money? That's what we're going to talk about with the seven-figure agency equation. This is a very important lesson, so let's jump in. So what is natural law? I found this quote on Natural Law by Albert Einstein, and he says, "The harmony of natural law reveals an intelligence of such superiority that compared with it, all the systematic thinking and acting of human beings is an utterly insignificant reflection." And what that came to mean to me is that natural law is so powerful. It's the governing laws of this entire universe. It's the governing laws of everything. Natural law is so powerful that if every single human being on the face of the earth got together and put their thinking minds together, it still would not have a chance compared to natural law. It is the most important thing, but we seem to forget it sometimes. Here's a couple quotes from me on what I see natural law as. Natural law applies to every participant in the universe at all times, regardless of any effort on their behalf. There is simply no escaping natural law. No human, government, culture, or force can really fight or change it, right? In simple terms, natural law is the ultimate truth of existence. What I mean is that it doesn't matter if we're more involved now. It doesn't matter if we got thousands of years of technology, right? It doesn't matter what technology we have. It doesn't matter if we're in a different culture, in a different society, if we're in a different country. It doesn't matter how hard we try. We can't change natural law. Natural law is just the fundamental truth of this universe. And as humans, we go through life experiencing challenges, setbacks, wins, and losses. Every experience provides us with feedback and the ability to acquire worldly wisdom that helps us do more of what works and less of what doesn't, right? This results in a happy life if we're in full control of it, right? The problem is that most people go through life repeating the same mistakes over and over again, expecting a different outcome, then blaming other people or the forces for their misfortune, right? Most people choose to believe a false reality that opposes natural law, and they end up living sad existences. They believe it's out of their control. The great masters of all time learned to observe their lives as a series of never-ending scientific experiments. With each experiment, they reflected on the outcome and they learned from that outcome. The person who lives in this way ends up getting closer and closer to the ultimate truth and lives a life of harmony with natural law. A person in harmony with natural law dreams of something, then creates it. Here are some quotes from me on what natural law is. You probably want to take a screenshot of this or print it out. You definitely want to remind yourself of this stuff. As we go through life, we get feedback. We make mistakes. We fall over. We graze our knee, and it hurts, and we learn. Okay, don't be so clumsy next time. Or maybe when you're running around, don't have your eyes closed, or don't be looking at your phone when you're running across the road or something like that. When we fall over, when we make mistakes, we get feedback. It's not a failure, it's feedback. And the feedback is painful and we learn. Okay, let's not do that next time. Then we blame ourselves. We're like, yep, I was clumsy. It wasn't someone else's fault that I fell over on the road and got a grazed knee, right? So we learn and we're able to grow. We make a lot of mistakes and we figure out what the truth is. Then eventually we end up pretty much never falling over and grazing our knee and never cross the road while looking at our phone, right? A person who does that and a person who constantly reflects on things and is constantly in search of what the truth is lives an awesome life. However, there are some people, this is probably most people in the world, who experience misfortune. They, instead of taking responsibility from it and learning from it, they blame someone else, right? They blame something else. What happens is once you do enough of that, life's out of control. Now you're looking to someone else or some other force as the only thing that can provide you with the life that you want. It's the government's fault. Something is happening in the news. It's the event's fault, right? It's the other person's fault. It's my family's fault. I don't have enough time. Whenever you put the blame on something which isn't you, that is when you become the victim. The people who master everything in this world, they are the people who take responsibility for things, and when they fail, they reflect on it, and then they learn. When they learn what the truth is, they remember it. They remember themselves, and they keep getting closer and closer to the truth. When you live a life very close to natural law, you quite literally dream of something and are able to create it in real life. That's what I'm always trying to teach you how to do. I can quite honestly dream up something I want in the future and go about making it happen. I do, and I do it year after year. Sometimes it even surprises me. If you wonder how I got to this point where I made a significant amount of money, moved out of the rat race, and now live in a multi-million-dollar home, it didn't just happen. I designed it. I built it, and it was built to plan. It was built to spec. Just like you build a house. The way I was able to do it was by understanding natural law and understanding everything that goes along with it. That's what we're going to be talking about. Quite simply, natural law is cause and effect. It looks like this simple diagram. This is a diagram you want to keep in your mind. You want to imprint this in your mind. This is all that life is. We have 3 stages. We've got the thesis, right there. Then we've got an antithesis, which is the red thing. Then the two come together, right? They collide, and that's when we see this middle stage. Then something becomes the antithesis in contact with the thesis, and that is the synthesis. The synthesis becomes the new thesis, right? It comes back around, and it just keeps going and going. This is really the law of nature. This is the law of the universe, evolution, and everything. If you are in your current situation right now, then you come in contact with the sun, then, right? So that would be the thesis. Coming into contact, you are the thesis, right? And you come in contact with the sun, which would be the antithesis. Then the synthesis, I always mess that word up, is going to be you, right? Sunburned, or you with a tan, right? Depending on which way you go. It is all of these things. It would be you sunburned. Let's say that you go down to the antithesis in the red and you didn't put on suntan lotion, then you'd come out the other side freaking sunburnt, right? But if you went out blue and you put on suntan lotion, you would come out with a tan. It's all of these things, right? They follow this rule. This is basically the equation of cause and effect. If we have a situation and we apply something else to the situation, then something comes of that situation. I know this might seem way too simple, right? To even be of value, but this really is it. We as humans have overcomplicated everything. This really is the governing formula of all evolution and all existence. And it can be reduced to a simple equation like this for us as agency owners and for us as human beings, right? C plus PE to the power of T equals D. Now, stay with me while I walk you through each one of these steps, okay? D is your dream. D is what you want, right? C is your current situation. P is your plan. And E is your daily execution of that plan. T is time. And that little upwards facing hat thing there, that represents an exponent, right? An exponent is like when you put something to the power of something. It's a power law. So if I put 5 to the power of 10, I get 9,765,625. And you're probably like, Josh, who the fuck taught you math? And how does 5 to the power of 10 equal such a massive number? Yeah, well, this is what exponents do, right? It means it's 5 times 5, then it keeps timesing upon itself. These are what we call power laws. These are the laws which earthquakes work on, right? Like Richter scales. A lot of things work on these sort of scales. This is why if you look at the gap between the rich and the poor, that follows a massive steep curve, right? It's like the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer. That's why once you have a lot of money, it's way easier to make a lot of money because things compound. Most people don't take this into account. So this is the equation of cause and effect, and I'm going to walk you through it. Don't worry if you're a little bit confused right now. I'm going to walk you through each step and show you how simple it really is. But the main thing is people think that life just happens to them. People think that if someone gets rich, it's just lucky or it's because they did something wrong. People have just gotten out of touch with reality. They don't understand that it's all actually quite simple and it's all cause and effect. So we can use this equation and we can figure out exactly how to get where we want to go, right? So let me show you. Watch this. Here's our formula, right? C plus PE to the power of T equals D. So my dream could be to have $1 million in the bank, right? C plus PE to the power of T equals D. So I've replaced the D with $1 million in the bank, right? We all can define our dreams. That's the first step. We just need to think into the future. What do we want? What is our dream? This is the first step. And most people actually never think about this. And I'm not even kidding here. Most people don't even think, what do I really want? And if you don't think about what you want, then you're most certainly never going to get it. It's like if you go to the airport and you don't know where you want to go, and you just walk into that airport and you just get on some random flight, you might end up in Africa. You might end up in Africa and you might go, wait a minute. I didn't want to be in Africa. Well, yeah, that's kind of what happens to most people's lives, right? If you don't define what you want, if you don't go through your life every day with some kind of intent, then you're going to end up in some random place. Then probably wake up one day and realize, shit, this isn't where I wanted to be. And so step one, guys, is just to define what you actually want. What is your dream? It can really be anything, right? You just have to define something. You don't need to worry if it's wrong because you can always change it later, but you must define something. So C plus PE to the power of T equals dream. That's 1 million in the bank, or 7 figures, right? Anyone can come up with that. Now we define C. So C is our current situation. So everyone can define that because current situation is what you have right now. That's what's in your bank account right now. If I have $500 in the bank right now, and my dream is to have $1 million in the bank, now all that's left of this equation really is to plus P, right, to the power of T. Now PE is your plan times your execution of that plan to the power of time. Okay, so let's keep going real quick. I've got 500 in the bank right now. Then here's my plan. I need to pick a niche, focus on acquiring the skills and knowledge, right, in that niche, get clients, scale up, and have a mentor, times execution of that plan to the power of time equals 1 million in the bank. So now we've got our current situation, we've got our desired situation, our dream, and now we've got a plan, something that we think can get us there. Now, the next step is to put an E, which is execution. There's no point in just having a plan. We need to execute on that plan. We need to do the work. The best plan in the world still won't do anything if we don't do it. We've got our current situation, right? 500 in the bank, then our plan, pick a niche, focus on acquiring the skills and knowledge in the niche, getting clients, scaling up, having a mentor times our execution of that plan, which is no TV today, no alcohol or parties today, saving and putting away every waking minute into our execution today, focusing on badass execution to the power of time equals 1 million in the bank. So now we've filled our whole equation and all we're missing is the power of time. Now here's our last piece. Here's where we put to the power of time in. So we have 500 in the bank. That's our current situation. Plus, pick a niche. Focus on acquiring the skills, the knowledge in that niche, right? Get clients, scale up, and have a mentor times our execution of the plan. No TV today, no alcohol or parties today. Saving and putting every waking minute into execution today to the power of 365 days. That's a full year. If we put in that execution of that plan every day for 365 days, that equals $1 million in the bank. Now, that is this equation. That's natural law. And it's actually pretty simple. How come most people don't control their lives and live their dreams? Well, it's all to do with knowledge, memory, and time. And here's why most people suffer as a victim to life. Here's why most people swear that it's more complicated than what I just said it was. The number one is knowledge. Most people don't seek the truth in things, and they have no interest in gaining knowledge and worldly wisdom. And knowledge is literally the first step to power. And without it, one's going to suffer real bad. You know, knowledge really is the most important thing in the world because without knowledge, you don't even know if you should be happy or sad or mad. Like, you really could be sad and not know it, not know why. You completely have no idea what to do without knowledge. And knowledge is the most important thing. You need to understand yourself. You need to understand your mind. You need to understand the world and how it works. And you need to understand how to find truth. That is the most important thing. And most people don't even want to learn. Or they go to college and they think, my learning is done. Or they get to a certain age, right? And they think, oh shit, I don't need to learn anything anymore. Now, the second one is memory. And most people believe their memory about past events are accurate and are not subject to the misinterpretation and change, right? Our memories are dangerously fallible, but most people believe them to be fact. And guys, listen closely, because this is a huge one. Most people think that their memories are things that are accurate and truthful, and they don't think their memories can change, and they don't think that at the time which they store their memory, they could have been wrong. And what we're starting to find out about the human brain is that memories change. So what happens as a human when you set a memory? Let's say you're a person and you're walking through your life, right? And you see something happen. And then what happens is for you to store that memory in your brain, you need to reduce that experience down into just a sentence. You need to convert that experience into just one sentence, into just a string of words. And those words are using your language system like English, Chinese, or whatever. And you take this complex situation and you reduce it down to a sentence. Like this thing right here happened. Like someone did something to me. I fell over and it was all their fault, right? They're horrible. That's my memory of something. And then we store that memory. But what happens over time is our language gets shaded and we learn different things about the world. And at the time of which we set that memory, our language might have not been as developed enough, right, to accurately store that memory. All of our understanding of life might not have been the same. And this new understanding of life means that our memory was totally inaccurate. And this is happening a lot. We're finding that our memories of things are totally inaccurate. And human beings, as they develop and they grow older, their brains develop. Their brains grow different neural pathways, adapt and fuse together. And when that happens, it can actually change memories completely. And people need to understand this. Just because you remember something being a particular way doesn't mean that it was that way. And one of the most dangerous things humans have is their own memory. So a lot of people, when they come into trainings and they're trying to become successful, is they can't escape their past. You know, they're constantly thinking back to their past. And like I've heard a lot of people say, oh, Josh, Facebook ads, I've already tried Facebook ads and they don't work. Therefore, Facebook ads don't work. Do you know how crazy that is? So someone's memory is telling them that they tried Facebook ads and it didn't work. Therefore, Facebook ads didn't work. Well, how come other people can make so much money with Facebook ads? Someone could say, I tried some calls, right? Some sales calls, and they didn't work. Therefore, sales calls don't work. Therefore, I'm not going to try sales calls again because they obviously don't work. Well, that's complete fucking craziness, right? You know, maybe they've fused that in their memory, right? So they're saying that this one thing is this particular way, but they're completely wrong. And so it's very important that we understand that our memories are very fallible. And most of the time, human memory is completely wrong. Third one here, guys, and this is probably one of the most important of all time, is time. So most people can't associate cause and effect because the two are distanced from each other over time, right? Where effect gives little clue in the short term, but tons of clue in the long term. Simply put, most people give up because they can't see effect from cause immediately, or they see effect from cause, but then they forget what actually caused it due to their memory fading with time. So what I mean by this is that someone takes an action now and they can't see it, right? They can't see an effect from that action. Someone might invest a whole day into starting their business, but they don't see a whole bunch of money come back into the bank account. So they're like, oh, okay, now I know that this was a complete waste of time. This was a waste of my time. I spent the whole damn day on this thing and I didn't make any money. Therefore, it just doesn't work. And what people don't understand is that cause and effect are spaced out over time. If you take an action today, you're not going to see the full effect and reward of that action until years down the road. You'll start to see some effect, but you won't see the massive effect until later on down the road. It's the same when you think about compound interest, right? So I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute. So we call this human fallibility, right? Knowledge, memory, and time. The fact that humans don't have very good knowledge, and they definitely don't seek out knowledge, the fact that human beings have horrible memories, but they consider their memories to be the absolute truth and fact, the fact that most humans don't understand how time works, time compounds things, and action taken today has huge, tons of effect in the future. If you save $1 every day now, all you're going to see is $1 in your account, then another $1 in your account. But then later on in your life, that is going to be worth millions. And most people don't see that. Most people are only looking in the short term and they can't see the effect of their efforts. We call this human fallibility. And what I mean by that is that humans are fallible. You're fallible. I'm fallible. All of us are. We're extremely fallible, and it means that we make mistakes and we believe things that aren't even true. So let's dig into time in more detail, because time is probably the most misunderstood force in the entire world. And I know that you might be thinking, Josh, or Joshua T, as my grandpa says, why are you teaching us about something so basic? I know how time works. There's 24 hours in a day. The sun comes up in the morning and the moon comes out at night, blah, 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 right? Well, trust me, you haven't looked at it this way before. And because you've never thought about time like this before, because no one has ever told you about this. So here's effect versus time. Here's what it looks like. It follows an exponential curve. So if I take some sort of action now, right now, today, like I'm going to start a business, put in a whole bunch of research and all that stuff. Well, I'm going to see very small effect today. So I might look at my piece of paper and I might be like, okay, good. I came up with 5 pages of niche research. Like, really, where's my results? That's all I've got? Just these 5 pages? Well, what you don't understand is that over time, that effect starts to look like this. You know, quite often, early in my journey, guys, I was working on things and I couldn't see the reward right away. And I was like, man, I'm doing a lot of research on this niche, or I'm doing a lot of hard work here. And I'm reading a lot of books and I'm taking a lot of action, but I'm not seeing a whole bunch of results. And then a few years later, bam, all of a sudden, God damn, where's all this money coming from? And even I wondered, I was like, where the hell is this coming from? How did this just come out of the blue? Like, this is complete crazy, right? And then that's when I really realized that I was starting to collect compound interest on all of these things I had done over the past 5 years, and that my growth curve started to look like this. So for my first year of having my agency business, I did 200,000. Then I did 500,000 in the second year. Then I did 1.2 million. Then I did 2.4 million. Then bam, I went up to 12.25 million. And this year I'll do over 18 million. And next year, I'm sure I'll do over 30 million. And so you might wonder, well, how the hell does this happen, right? How does someone go from being broke to living in a trailer to all of that? And guys, it starts to curve like this. And I'm telling you, the money I make right now, it isn't from the work I did this year. It's a compounding effect from the work I did every year from the beginning. And this is how cause and effect works. It's like if we take an action now and we do get some effect from the actions that we take right now, then we're content. But the truth is, the real effect curves. It goes up like a rocket. And I know when I'm 60, 70, 80 years old, I'm still going to be collecting dividends on those actions that I took when I was younger. And I wondered every single day if it was ever going to be worth it for me, right? And when I picked up that book and I read that, was that ever going to be worth it to me? Well, this is how it works. It curves up like this. Now, here is our other force that is against it, which is our memory. So a lot of people don't think about it like this, but this is how human memory looks. If you look at any sort of scientific research, this is how memory looks in terms of its accuracy. So our memory is really good right now. If we take an action today, then we're pretty good at remembering what we did today. But as time goes by, our memories fade away and our memory gets worse and worse and worse. It curves just like this until we literally get to a point in time where it's very hard to even remember what happened at all. I mean, here's a good question for all of you. 2 Wednesdays ago, what did you eat for lunch? Without looking at anything, what did you eat for lunch? Just think about that. So if you're like most people, 99% of people I talk to couldn't figure that one out. Hell, I can't even figure that one out right now. I don't remember. Then what about 2 months ago? Minus 2 days off of that. What did you have for breakfast? Without looking, what did you have? You don't know. You can't remember. What did you do November 21st when you were 3 years old? It's blank, right? We don't know. You see, this is what I'm talking about. Most humans, they think that their memory is some awesome thing, that it doesn't get anything wrong, but really, it is so inaccurate. it can't remember things. It can't remember very much at all. And our memory curves like this. And what's really interesting and just really hit me one day, and I figured it out, I was like, oh my God, this is why humans are so fallible with everything. It's because these two curves work like this. So cause and effect is really the governing law that the world works by. Really, guys, people don't just get rich by chance. And people don't just get fit and healthy by chance. People don't just win marathons by chance. And people don't just live happy lives by chance. Society spun this narrative, right? That if you're rich, you're just lucky, and that it's pretty much a miracle or impossible to become rich, become wealthy, and live the life that you want. Well, it's not. It's cause and effect. And here's how we keep forgetting that it's cause and effect, though. It's because these two exponential curves work on opposites to each other. If I take an action right now, today, and I don't see very much reward for that action, if I spend the day working on my business and I don't see much reward for that, I've got a very good memory collection of that. I'm like, I did a lot of work today and I didn't get much results today, right? And then over time, that work I did starts to get more and more results. So let's role play real quick. Let's just say 1 year from now, I get this result, right? So I get somebody to actually call me back. Let's say I get a phone call from a guy who I spoke to over a year ago, and he's like, oh, hey, Josh, you remember how you shot me that video for my business? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And he's like, yeah, well, guess what? I thought about it, and I want to sign up with you. And the guy signs up, right? And you're like, man, that just came out of the blue. Where the hell did that come from? Well, that's because you forgot what you did 1 year ago. 1 year ago, you might have spent that one day working on your business and then gave up. Now you're like, oh shit, that was a fluke. I wonder why more things don't happen like that, right? Well, that's because someone gave up and they can't remember what caused that effect. Because quite often, by the time we get exponential effect from our action, we've forgotten what action we took that caused it. And that is what makes human beings so fallible. So let me try to make this a bit clearer for you. An action taken here at this moment in time has little effect and a strong memory to witness it and build belief systems. However, that same action has an exponential effect at a later point in time with little to no memory to remember what caused it. So if we save $1 now, at that time when we can remember it, we're like, this is useless. This sucks because I'm not getting any money. I'm not getting rich, right? I don't see big bank accounts and nice homes, and I'm not just saving $1 a day. So that's what our memory says to us. But if we were to stick to it over a long number of years, then we're like, whoa, where did all these millions of dollars come from? Well, you can't remember back to when you were taking those actions that caused that effect. And so I'm really just trying to make everyone understand this, right? An action taking here has little effect at this moment in time and strong memory to witness it and build belief systems. But this exact action has a scaled effect at a later point in time with little to no memory to remember what caused it. And simply put, guys, by the time a memory has faded, only remembering small effect, our effect scales exponentially with little to no memory of what cause actually created it. So this is why most people fail. This is why most people aren't successful. And they think it's because of something else. But this is it. People start on a journey and they can't see effect from cause immediately. So they give up and quit before they reach the point where effect starts compounding. So someone wants to grow a 7-figure agency, or someone picks a niche, right? And they start researching into that niche and they're like, I'm not seeing any money. I'm not seeing any customers or massive rewards. This niche must suck. So now they throw it out and they choose a new niche. Or someone might start to think, oh, this business idea, it doesn't work. I'm going to throw it out. Or someone might start to think Facebook ads. Oh, Facebook ads don't work. Throw it out. And what happens with these people is they keep looking for an effect in a short term and they never stick to it long enough to where the effect starts to compound over time. And number two, people who stick at it long enough to experience compounding effect often forget what cause was responsible for creating it. And this makes things appear chaotic and out of their control. So the second reason why people fail is they stick to something, they stick to something for long enough, but then they start seeing the compounding effect and they forget what actually caused it. So they go and change things, and they change things that weren't broken. I can't tell you how many times I've seen successful business people stop doing the things that made them successful and completely forgotten about them. And then they wonder why their business isn't successful anymore. And so this is the dangerous thing for us humans. Cause and effect is distanced over time, and it has an exponential curve looking that way, right? However, our memory fades and it has an exponential curve looking the other way. So it means that an action we take now, we won't see the full effect of it until years in the future. However, our memory isn't going to remember what cause we took that made that effect happen in the future. And this is a massive thing that human beings haven't been able to grapple with, and they haven't been able to get their heads wrapped around. So if you wonder why I have so much money now and why I've been so successful and how I completely took over the entire lead generation industry, it's because I stuck to it. And the fruits which I'm basking in right now are the compounding effects of all the hard work I did over the years. I only saw 200,000 in year one. When I first started my agency, I only got to 200,000. But then my second year, I was only at 500,000. Then my third year, and it started curving up. And I didn't really start collecting massive payoffs until I had stuck to one thing. I stuck to my niche, my agency. I stuck at all of it, right? I just stuck right there with it. I didn't give up. And most people don't stick to things. Most people don't even stick to a business. No joke. Most people try one business idea and it doesn't work. So they give up completely and they're like, I know business doesn't work. So the first thing is you've got to stick to business. But the second thing is you have to stick to a niche. If you keep leaving your niche and you do what I call niche jumping and you keep grabbing a new niche, then a new niche, then a new niche, and you're like, I know this niche doesn't work. This niche doesn't work. This niche doesn't work. You're going to get stuck in this model that we just went over on this screen. It means you're not sticking to a niche long enough to get the scaled effect. Guys, I stuck to marketing, right? And I doubted marketing. I doubted it every day. And I thought, this other niche looks good, or this e-commerce niche looks good. Maybe I should start this business doing this. Maybe I should start a business doing that, right? And to tell you the truth, I did start a couple other businesses, and it was stupid. I ended up slowing down my progress and then realizing, oh my God, what a fucking idiot you are, Josh, right? Then getting rid of that business completely, then coming back to the agency model. Most people, they keep forgetting. Their memories are bad and they forget what got them to their success in the first place. And then they don't stick at things long enough to start seeing the compounding effect. So society has made business out to be this massive gamble of the 1% who are lucky. Like society says that people who make a lot of money, they're lucky. It's all just a fluke. Like most people would think that my luck is a fluke, right? Most people would think that my luck is because I'm privileged or something. Like I was just given a whole bunch of money by my family or by somebody that just gave me a bunch of stuff. And it's not true. People who are successful, it's not due to luck. I don't believe in luck. I don't believe that there is such a thing as luck. And I'm here today to tell you that there is no such thing as luck. And I truly believe this. I don't think there is anything called luck or chance, only natural law from cause and effect, compounded exponentially over time. So most people might be able to get their head around cause and effect. Like, okay, I eat a cake and I lie on the couch and I'm probably not going to be very healthy, right? And I'm not going to look the best. But what they don't understand is even if someone does understand cause and effect like that, they don't understand the exponential compounding effect of time. If you eat one piece of cake today, you don't know what effect it's going to have on you in 10 years, 5 years. So You see, we tend to look at things only today. We're like, oh, if I eat this cake today, I won't look that much different today. But how do you know what that one decision to eat that cake today and the cause that comes with it? Is it going to affect you in 5 years from now? You don't want to mess with things like this. Time compounds everything. The one decision I made to quit my job at that insulation company and start my own moving company, that one tiny decision. When I made that decision and I quit, I doubted myself. I was like, well, maybe this was the wrong decision, or, I'm not feeling too good. And so my memory, it's starting to be like, okay, quit job. And what I can remember right now, guys, is that I think I made the wrong decision. So there's my memory. It's going and doing its analysis, right, on things right now. And it made me kind of feel like I made the wrong decision. But if we look at that one decision I made at that point in time, if we were to look at its effect, if that was the cause, and today we were to look at the effect, it's more than $40 million. So that's massive. But if we look at that point in time, I was worried. I was shaking in my boots. I was scared. And that's how things work. Everything in this life is cause and effect, and it's compounded exponentially over time. So when you're taking action every day, when you choose to put an hour into your business today, when you choose to write down your goals today, or when you choose to do this today, or when you choose to make a call to a prospect today, when you choose to do any action today, you have to think about its effect in the long term. Because if you just take one small little move today, I can't tell you how life-changing the effect of it on your future is. Most likely way bigger than you can possibly even imagine. If people just chose to watch Netflix today or just to go to a party today, you don't know what sort of effect that's having on your life 5 years from now. So as the human race, we've pretty much been brought up, right, to forget about the future. Everyone is like, just live in the here and now, right? Forget about the future. And I agree, we should live in the here and now, but we shouldn't forget about what we're doing to our future. So you want to be putting in deposits into this future bank account all the time. And this is what you're doing. You're working on your mindset, right? Working on yourself and working on your business. And honestly, you'll not see massive results in the short term. You're going to see results. Believe me, this stuff you're learning, it shows you how to get clients, how to start a business, and how to make money and everything, right? And you'll see those results, but you don't expect massive things to happen on the first day. All things are compounded over time. And the biggest thing that is affecting all entrepreneurs is time, and they forget that. And Albert Einstein said this: compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. At first I was like, this doesn't make much sense, right? Compound interest. Everybody knows about compound interest. I read about this years ago. Then it really hit me, and it came to me. He was talking about everything. Time on everything in this world has interest on it. Time, the way time works. When I actually understood how time works, most people don't understand how it works. And I won't get into it in this training because it would take me a day to describe it to you. But time has compounding effects on it, which means whatever you do today, it starts to exponentially compound on itself, just the same way compound interest does in a bank account. If you save $1 today and that's all you do, at first you're going to be like, well, I've hardly got any money. I'm only saving $1 a day. But if you were to use a compound interest calculator and you were to work that out over time, oh my God, it would blow your mind. And if you were to look at Warren Buffett's wealth over time, seriously, look at this. Why does Warren Buffett's wealth look like this? A lot of people, they look at Warren Buffett and they look at how much money he's got, like 91 billion or however much it is. And they're like, I wonder how he got that. And you look at it across time. You look at every wealthy person's money across time, and it looks like this. And most entrepreneurs have forgotten. Or you know what? Maybe they've never learned. I think what most people in the world have never learned is the effect that time has on everything. Not just on money, but on every single cause and effect relationship in this world. And this is what Albert Einstein was getting at. He said, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. Those who forgot about compound interest end up paying for it dearly. I don't just mean money-wise, I mean everything-wise. So here's how this applies to you. Here's how to master natural law. I've told you how it works, but here's how to master it. So knowledge is literally power, and understanding oneself in the governing laws of nature should be the highest priority in order to live a happy and purposeful life, right? So here's what you must promise to me, to yourself, and to everyone else right now. Number one is you must promise to become a keen learner with a passion for acquiring worldly wisdom. You've got to open up your mind. You've got to decide that you're going to learn some things, right? You have to have a passion for acquiring wisdom, because if you don't know how the world works and you don't know how things work, then you're always going to suffer as a victim. So make this promise right now. Second, memory, beliefs, and story about the past are extremely inaccurate and are the root cause of most people's issues and limitations. Undoing the knots and reprogramming your brain is of extreme importance. And here's what you must promise. You must promise to work on confronting the belief systems and installing a new pattern and worldview. The way that you see things right now is not accurate, because people with belief systems that have been worked on and people with accurate patterns and worldviews, they make a lot of money and they live exactly how they want to live. They don't see life as a pinball machine of chance, right? They see life as what they make of it. And someone who doesn't see life like this is going to have bad patterns and faulty view of the world. So you must promise to work on confronting belief systems and installing new patterns and worldviews. The third one, time. Understanding the nonlinear compounding effects of time and how to use it to your ultimate advantage is essential to making large sums of money. You must promise to stick to this process and take consistent action until compounding joins your side. So remember what Albert Einstein said, the eighth wonder of the world is compound interest. Well, if it's so powerful, if it's literally as powerful as the eighth wonder of the world, you definitely want to have it on your side. You want to have all these factors on your side. And compound interest is one of the greatest forces there is. And in order to get it on your side, you need to stick to something. Not just stick to business, but stick to mindset. The mindset work I tell you to do, just stick to it. If I tell you to do mindset stuff every day, do it every day. Don't stop doing it after 4 days. You're not going to see that scaled effect. Or if I tell you to read your goals each day and you write down that you want $1 million home on your goals and you don't see $1 million home on day 4, well, don't stop. Just understand that curve, because believe me, I wrote that down on my own goals. I wanted $1 million home on my goals, and I thought that I was really pushing it, guys. I forgot how old I was when I did this. I think I was around like 28 years old, and I wrote down that I wanted $1 million home on some acres. And I thought, Josh, you're being an idiot. But I was like, well, hell, I might as well try, right? I might as well write it down and see if it happens. And I still thought, man, you're being an idiot, Josh. But I kept it on my goals, guys. I read my goals every day and I didn't give up on it. And what's crazy is that I think at some point through that year, I must have given up on reading the goals. But what happened is I found those goals on my computer and I read through it and I was like, oh my God, because I had that $1 million home now. And I was like, holy shit, these things are so powerful. So I had forgotten that quite often we achieve our goals at a time when we forgot that they were actually even our goals. This is what's dangerous, and this is what makes people stop reading their goals, stop setting their goals, and stop believing in cause and effect. And they start believing in chance, and it's memory that makes you do it. Sometimes we can believe in cause and effect, and we've got it, and then we forget all about it. And now we think it's just up to chance again. And it's so important that we understand how fallible we are. Knowledge, memory, and time. We forget about these things. We forget that every action we take today is going to have an exponential effect in the future. We forget that the way that we remember things is wrong, and that sometimes we can't even remember anything. We forget that we are always learning, and that the only way to really lose is to think that you don't need to learn anything else. So you must promise to stick to all three of these things if you want to master natural law and be in control of your own life. The eyes are useless when the mind is blind. So your current understanding and knowledge got you here, right? But it will not take you where you want to go. And throughout this journey, you must keep an open mind. I've just shown you some things about time, cause and effect, natural law. And I can tell you that a closed mind will tell you this stuff is useless. This stuff is too basic. Like, where's the secret sales tactics, Josh? That is what a closed mind would say. An open mind would say, wow, I never thought about time like that. I can now see the point. So you must keep an open mind. Now let's talk about the 7-figure agency equation. So I showed you the governing equation of all evolution of human species and, well, really everything in nature. But here is the 7-figure agency equation. So this is how we go about creating value in the marketplace as a marketer. So if you're new and you don't have a niche, if you've never started niching down in business before and you're like, what am I going to do? How am I going to make 7 figures with this? I don't even have a niche. I'm going to show you how it works. I'm going to show you how it's really quite simple. So what is the 7-figure agency equation? Well, it looks like this. Just like we had our law of nature, which was the thesis, right? Antithesis and the synthesis. We have our niche, offer, and result. So we choose a niche and then we look at the niche and we're like, what's the problem of this niche? Like, what are your problems? Then what are your desired situations? Then we try an offer. We try selling them a website and doing some SEO service for them or Facebook ads. Then the niche comes into contact with this offer. And then there's an end result. That's really how simple it is. It's a niche, an offer, and a result. And the niche collides with the offer, and then here comes the result. And it can also be reduced to an equation like this. Niche times offer equals result. Now let's go through each one of these. Niche is a specific group of people who cluster together with similar attributes, right? And these users or prospects can be clustered in any way, shape, or form. It can be B2B, B2C, or what I call B2P, right? Because really there's no such thing as B2B or B2C. It's just business to people. But the main thing is that it's specific and the participants have similarities. So we're looking for a grouping of people together. We must start with a group. We don't want to start with everyone because everyone is different. And if we focus on everyone, then our offer is going to work on some people and it's not going to work on some people. And we're going to wonder where we went wrong. But really, where we went wrong is we focused on everyone instead of on a group. And so you must choose a niche, which at the end of the day is a group of people. We want to make sure that they're similar, and we must identify a painful problem that they want to solve. So what's a problem that they have? And then we must identify a powerful desire for a solution or transformation that they all have in common. So what is their current situation and what is their desired situation, right? Then we have our offer. So an offer is the promised solution or service, right? Or information or advice that you provide. And it should be designed to solve the problem and achieve the desire of the niche. So when you create an offer, you don't just make up some stuff or you don't just throw some stuff in a bag. You look at your niche and you look at where their current situation is, right? Then you look at where their desired situation is. And you don't just make those things up. You actually went to the niche and asked them. And now you've designed an offer that is designed to help someone get from their current situation to their desired situation. And it should be designed to solve the problem and achieve the desired result of that niche. And it should be minimal in terms of your time and should be repeatable, right? As repeatable as possible. Most people design an offer and they're like, well, we've thrown some stuff in a bag. Let's throw as much stuff in this bag as possible so people feel like they've really got a lot. But that's fucking crazy, right? You're not just throwing some stuff in a bag when you have an offer. You're looking at what the market needs and you're only putting the one little thing in the bag that actually achieves the result. And you're thinking in terms of a minimal as possible. Like I said, you want to offer the smallest thing as possible and it should use as little of your time as possible and it should be as repeatable as possible. That's the offer. Then the two collide. The niche and the offer. So here, the way to think about this is literally just like a chemical reaction. So imagine if we had a niche, right? The current situation and the desired situation, and we put them into contact
with an offer that we've designed. So just imagine these are all like chemicals and we put them all together. And now the two are in contact with each other. They're having this killer chemical reaction, right? Obviously, there's going to be some change, right? When you mix chemicals, there's change. So now things are changing. Change is taking place. Things are shaking up and there's a reaction. And then after the reaction comes the result. And the result in the end situation or state after the niche collides with the offer, after the collision has actually happened and things are shooken up, what is the result? So the result should be the solution to your niche's problems and their desires, right? So remember, in the beginning, when we picked the niche and we found out what the current situation was and the desired situation, well, if our offer was right, then the result should have been the person solving their problem and the person achieving their desires. If it wasn't right, then they didn't achieve those things, right? If it was kind of right, then they might have gotten halfway there. But this is how we understand if we get something right or wrong here. The end result should be what was desired at the start and nothing else. And the result should be as profound as possible in the least amount of time as possible. So we're looking for results that are profound. We don't just want to help someone make a small little increase, right? So let's say that we choose the niche, right? Let's say with chiropractor. And guys, I didn't just choose this niche for any reason. So don't think, oh, Josh used chiropractor, so I'm going to use chiropractors. I didn't. I chose it at random, okay? But let's just say I chose chiropractors and I talk to them and I find out what's their desired situation, right? Well, Josh, I wish I could make an extra $10,000 a month with my company, right? That's what the chiropractor is going to tell you. So if I went out and I designed an offer to help them do that, and then we apply that offer to the niche and their current situation, and the end result is they're able to make an extra $5,000, well, guys, that's not very awesome because it's only half of what someone wanted, right? And eventually that person's going to cancel their service. If not, they might actually cancel it right away within the first month. So a profound result is something that exceeds someone's expectations. So let's say we choose chiropractors. They want an extra $10,000 a month. Let's say they did it, right? They hired us and they ended up making $100,000 a month. That's profound. And when you have a service or when you have an offer that literally has an effect and a result like that, that's how you make a lot of money. That's how things go viral. That's when every chiropractor in the world starts telling every other chiropractor about this thing. That's when things go bam. That's straight scale, right? And as an agency owner, this is what we're all doing. We're looking at these three things: niche, offer, result. And we're constantly working on these things. We're constantly thinking about it. We're talking to our niche, right? We're like, what's your current situation? What's your desired situation? We're keeping our fingers on the pulse of our niche, their needs and their wants and their desires. Then we're looking at our offer, right? And we're like, how could our offer be better? Could we take this thing out of our offer? Could we do more of this? Could we do less of that? Maybe we should try doing this over here, improving our offer, then looking at the results. Hey, what results are these people getting? Are the results fading down or are they getting worse, right? Are our results getting better? This one client we had, they got a massive result, but how come these other clients we have didn't get much of a result at all? What did they do differently? As an agency owner, we're just paying close attention constantly to our niche, our offer, and our result. And you're trying to make it as profound as possible. And not only as profound as possible, but in the least amount of time as possible. Because this is what people want. They want as much as they can get in the shortest amount of time. That's what every human being wants. If you ask them what they want everything and they want it now, and they're allowed to want it now. So the more that you can give them in the shortest amount of time, that's how you create an amazing offer. So when you're designing, when you're working through this and you're thinking niche, offer, result, you want to be thinking how profound is the result and how quickly am I able to deliver it? And if you can deliver a profound result in just a short amount of time, then you're going to make a lot of money. And it doesn't have to start out as profound, right? Like, I don't think anyone's offer ever starts out being profound. When I kicked off my agency, I just started out helping people with websites and stuff. I can honestly tell you that the results people were getting with me back then, they weren't profound. And the amount of time it took was a long time for me to fulfill. But over the course of years and over the course of me really focusing on this and thinking about this, I was able to get the results more and more profound. And the time frames, I was able to tighten and squeeze into shorter and shorter amount of time, right? And that's how I started getting clients like Bob Hubbard, who went from $3,000 a month to $25,000 a month in 120 days. That's obscene. It's a profound result. I've had tons of other people like that. I've taken a lot of people to more than $1 million within a year, and that's profound. That's what you want to do. You want to always be looking at that. How can I squeeze the time frames? How can I make the results more profound? Now let's look at some examples to really cement this in, because this might seem way too simple to some people, but I can guarantee you the people whose minds are closed off to this are the people that are going to have nonstop issues with things. So you must keep an open mind, okay? So here's an example. We choose a niche. Let's say it's a small 1 to 5 person accounting firm. That's the niche. Now we ask them what their problem is, and they tell us they're struggling to get clients. And then their desires, they want to make more money than what they could at a big firm, right? And this is actually quite true for a lot of accountants. They're always comparing their incomes to what they could make if they had a job at like Deloitte or one of those big firms, right? They're always comparing to that. So their desire is to make more money than they would if they were at a big firm, right? And they're struggling to get clients in their small 1 to 5 employee accounting firm. And then we want to also grade their urgency. How bad do these people want it? How bad is their problem? And how urgent is their desire? And the higher that we get out of 10 on this one, it means we found a good niche and a good problem within that niche. So we've got a way to grade the niche and the niche's problem and desire. So we give this a rating out of 10. I'm going to say this one is like a 6 out of 10. Now we've got our offer. So we come up with a message, and it would be, we build your funnel and Facebook ads to get you clients in 30 days. So after I've done my research, I might have come up with some different things and figured out I could help accountants with Facebook ads and a funnel, and I could help them get clients in 30 days. So now the model, how are we delivering this to them? Well, the model might be done for you, which means we'll do the work for them. It could be done with you, which means we do half of it and they do the other half, etc., right? So we pick the model, and then in this case, it's done for you, right? Now the economics. How is our business model working? What's our price going to be? So on here, we decide $2,000 a month reoccurring, right? And then the vibration. This means and is a way of grading our offer. So how well does the market receive our offer? So when we make our offer to someone, which is the combination of our message and what we're doing, we ask ourselves, how potent is it? Like seriously, how much of an effect does it have on accountants when they hear that, right? I mean, really, is it just something that they just brush off and they're like, oh, I've heard it before. This sounds useless. Or is it something that makes them kind of like sit up in their chairs and they're like, well, Josh, that sounds like some shit that could really change my life, right? So is it making them sit up, or is it like something that just brush off when they see it? That's what we call vibration. And we grade this out of 10. So the better our offer is and the better our message is, the higher this vibration score gets. So we might say this vibration is like a 7 out of 10. And then we get to the result. So the desired result is for them to get more clients, making more money than they could at a big firm. And the complexity and the possibility and the time frame. This is really how we grade our results. So in order to get them the desired result that they have, how complex is it going to be? We're doing done for you, right? So we're building funnels and we're doing Facebook ads. Complexity, probably going to be pretty high. So it's like 9 out of 10. But how possible is it? If I'm being truly honest with myself, how possible do I think it is to get accountants more money than they could earn at a big firm with my offer? Well, I'm going to give it a ranking for possibility. And then I'm going to add in the time frame, how quickly I can deliver it by, right? Well, it's going to take me about 40 days. We come up with this, right? The desired result, the complexity, possibility, and time frame. This is basically how we do it. We look for a niche, and then we look for a problem and a desire. Then we grade the urgency. How bad do these people want it? This is the first step. We have to have a niche. We can't start having a scalable 7-figure agency business without having a niche. It's impossible. We have to identify a problem and a desire. We don't know what to get them if we don't know what they want. Like if someone just walks into an airport, we need to know what they want. We need to know where they want to go, right? And we need to know this before we try to sell them something, guys. Otherwise, if we just walk up to them and we try to sell them a ticket to China, Africa, or wherever, they might not be interested at all because it's not where they want to go. So this is what a lot of agencies do. A lot of agencies are just out there selling people tickets to China. When all those people, all they want to do, guys, is go to France. So if you got an offer that's telling somebody to go to China when everybody wants to go to France, it's going to be a damn near impossible sell. You're not going to be able to sell anyone. And that is literally what most agencies do. So you need to find out what the niche is. Then you need to find out what their problem is and the desire is. And then you need to rank that on a scale of 1 to 10. How much urgency is there? How much desire is there behind this niche wanting it? Like, is this niche extremely hungry for this? Are they really chomping at the bit for this? Or do they just barely even want it? You have to give it a grade. Then the offer. What is our message? What are we doing for them? Then what model are we using? Are we using done for you? Are we using done with you? What is it? What are the economics? How much are we charging? Is it reoccurring revenue or is it one-off, right? And then what is the vibration of this offer? Like, is this really, really on point, sexy offer that just makes people sit up in their chair? Or is this just an offer where people are like, meh, I've heard that before. We got to give it a grade, something out of 10, 1 to 10. And then the result. How complex is this for you to deliver? How possible it is for you to deliver, and how fast can you deliver the result? This is the 7-figure agency equation. And it's the difference between a 7-figure per year agency and a broke agency. The clearer you are on this formula and the higher you are on these different grading scales, the better your agency business is going to be. So if you want to know why my agency business makes thousands and thousands every day, is on track to do over 30 million next year, it's because of this. I know a lot of people may think, oh, it's because Josh has the gift of gab. He's got a multi-million-dollar house and people see the lifestyle and they just want to give him money. Or people might think, oh, it's because he does something with Facebook ads, or because, you know, he does this one thing on this landing page. And people are crazy. It's not because of any of those things. And people go and focus on the wrong things. People think it's all about this or that. People think it's all about someone what they're wearing in a video, right? Or it's because he wears nice clothes, or it's because his hair, it's always cut, or because, you know, Josh has blonde tips 6 months out of the year, right? It's because he has a beautiful wife. People are just crazy, guys. It's not because of any of those things. It's only because I absolutely nailed this one thing. I made sure that I understood my niche better than anyone else. I made sure that I understand their problems, their desires better than anyone else. I made sure I could accurately write a day in my niche's diary better than they could themselves. I could seriously write a day in their own diary, and they could find it and they would think, oh my God, this person knows more about me than I do. I know more about their desires than they do. And I know that I've really picked the best thing here. On an urgency, I'm like 9 out of 10. So I've really got that dialed in on the niche side. Then on the offer side, I got this offer dialed in. I've got my message razor sharp. I've got the model totally optimized. I've got the economics dialed in. And the vibration of my message, it makes the hairs on people's arms stand up. And that didn't happen by chance, guys. It happened over time and by constantly thinking about this. And then the result, my stuff gets results. If people bought my programs, my agency packages, and people hired me as a consultant and didn't get results, I wouldn't last very long. Results are the most important thing. My people get results. They take my programs, they get results. We have stories of people getting profound results in a short amount of time. And so we do get profound results. We do get them in a short amount of time. And so the possibility is very high because a lot of people get results. And so the complexity is pretty low because I don't have to do a huge amount of work. Quite often, I don't even need to talk to someone, and they can just go through one of my programs and end up with profound results in a short amount of time. So that's the science behind successful agencies. And that's the science behind a business that makes a lot of money. It's not what everyone thinks. It's not because someone's doing YouTube ads and another person's doing Facebook ads. It's not because somebody looks, right? Not the haircut. The fact that somebody wears white sunglasses instead of black. People have gone crazy. They think it's all of these other things that their minds are telling them, but it's just this. So if you get all of this stuff right, it doesn't matter what you do. If you look at my Instagram, I'm horrible at social media, right? I don't have a Twitter account. It just has nothing on it. And I don't blog anymore, right? I haven't done a blog in more than a year. My branding's pretty bad. If you look at my website, it looks pretty bad. And I pretty much do everything wrong. I haven't finished my book yet, right? I haven't been on the New York Times bestseller. I don't speak on stages too often anymore. I don't do anything. I don't do any of the stuff which everybody thinks that you should be doing. And it's because in the modern world, we've gotten it confused. I read an awesome article this other day. It said American actors are starting to fade and the European actors are starting to really poach in on those bigger roles, right? And so I forgot who said it. I think it was like Denzel Washington who wrote this article. And he said, what's really happening is American actors are starting to care more about their image and their social media appearances than they do about their craft. So actors are starting to put more effort and attention into their Facebooks, their Instagrams, and TikToks than they are putting into the practice into being a good actor. And what's happening is that over time, other people who are focused on the right things are getting better at being an actor. And then these American actors are being overtaken all of a sudden, right? And you'll notice that the best actors in the world, they have really bad social media accounts. Go look at Leonardo DiCaprio as one, right? He's completely out of the spotlight. He is mysterious. You don't hear about him much. He's off the radar. So how does he win? Well, he's focused and he's just the best damn actor there is right now. And look at the best basketball players of all time, like Michael Jordan. They're not out there doing the things that don't matter. They just do the things that matter and they let that speak for them. They're just the best. And then they let the universe do the rest, right? And that's what we've gotten confused. A lot of people think it's the wrong things. People are trying to be famous without having any substance. And that's crazy. Me personally, I don't care about being famous, really. In fact, I would like to be as least famous as possible. But I care about substance. I care about my work and my methods. I care about them being the best in the world. And I want to be the best in the world. But my social media page, I don't care. I prefer for it to be the worst in the world. So everyone has gone and gotten confused. And if you ever wondered what makes a company so successful, what makes an agency so successful, how you're going to make 7 figures in your business, it's all about mastering this. This is the core of everything. This is the cause and the effect. This is the equation, your niche, understanding it. How urgent is it? Your message, guys, your model, your economics, the vibration of your message with the market. And then your result. How profound is it? Can you deliver on it? How complex is it for you to deliver? How possible is it for you to deliver? What sort of time frame can you deliver it in? This all matters. If you get this stuff right, you don't even need Facebook ads. People will just be lined up outside your door, knocking on the door, ready to buy. And if you don't believe me, let's take this to the extreme real quick. So niche, offer, result. Let's pick a big need in the world right now. It would probably be like, the cure for cancer. So your niche would be people who have cancer and their desire is damn high. That's like a 10 out of 10. That's the niche, and the urgency is like 10 out of 10, right? The offer is we have a pill you can take, just one single pill, and it removes cancer. Okay. So that has a 10 out of 10 vibration, and you could charge like any amount of money for that pill, right? You could charge 10 grand for it and people are going to find 10 grand for that pill. And that model is just giving people a pill. And the message is just simple. It's just a cure with one pill. Now the result, cancer cured, right? Result, cancer cured. Complexity is pretty much 1 out of 10 because all they got to do is swallow a pill. Possibility is 10 out of 10 because it happens every time. Time frame is like overnight. This is an extreme example, I get it, but I'm using an extreme example just to give you an idea. If you could come up with that, believe me, you don't need to know how to code, guys. You don't need to know how to build a website. You don't have to know how to do anything. You could have the worst website in the world. You could literally create a website that just says, please don't buy from me, with just one simple sentence on that page, right? You could have no social media presence. Seriously, nothing. And you're going to be the richest person in the world. And so that's what it's all about. It's about getting these things right. It's about getting the foundations right, then using Facebook, SEO, your website and stuff to spread the word. When we go to Facebook and we go to spread the word, we want to make sure that the word we're spreading is good. Most people go to Facebook, they try it, and their message is so lame, and they're not really solving any problems. So Facebook doesn't work for them. Then they think Facebook doesn't work. They don't think it's their fault. They think, oh, Facebook ads, they don't work. No, it's your niche. Your offer and your result is what sucks, right? So most agency businesses I look at, this is what's all messed up. Most businesses I look at, this is what's messed up, guys. It's never a fact of Facebook messing up. It's never a fact of these other things. It's always this. So I know I've gone on this for a long time, but this is so important, and I wanted to make sure that you understood it. This is it. You want to make sure you get this stuff right, and you want to make sure you're nonstop, constantly trying to improve on this. It's just a simple equation. Niche times offer equals result. So let's finish this up. I know it's getting long, right? So we started off with what natural law is, and I'm sure you can hear my voice going out, and why it's of extreme importance, right? So I told you how natural law is the governing laws of the universe, right? Like, why do things happen the way they do? And it's just cause and effect. That's how things happen. Just cause and effect in time. And cause and effect is the governing equation of everything. And when we put the time in there, and the time is now how people think, right? People really think time is just a straight line. They think it's linear. They think that if they don't save $1 today, that in 10 years' time, the only difference will be $1. It's a lot more than that. So if you choose not to save $1 today, the difference is in like 20 years' time can be millions of dollars. So one action doesn't have the same reaction over time. It compounds. So cause and effect in the governing equation is C plus PE to the power of T equals D, right? That's the current situation plus our plan times our execution of that plan to the power of time equals our dream. And we want to play with that formula until we can figure out exactly how we can achieve our dream. And then why most people suffer as a victim to life due to the fallibility of knowledge, memory, and time. So we talked about how most people don't seek wisdom. Most people go to school, they go to college, and they're like, I don't need to know anything else. Then they're walking around on the street and they wonder why things aren't going their way. Oh, I wonder why I don't have any money, or I wonder why I don't live in a big house I want to live in, right? Or I wonder why my car is useless and it keeps breaking down all the time. I wonder why things seem to be out of my control. Most people wonder these things and they don't stop to think, well, maybe it's because I haven't learned how things work. Maybe it's because I forgot. Maybe it's because I just don't know how this time thing works, right? And so knowledge is extremely important. You must keep an open mind. You must learn. Memory is extremely important, and understanding that your memories can be wrong, right? Like I had so many memories of how things were that I had to completely pull back up, and I had to figure out they were actually wrong. And I had to let go of those memories. And in time, I had to figure out how time works. I had to understand that you can't really cheat time. I had to understand that if I chose to put off my dreams today, then I could be putting them off for 3, 4, 5 years. I realized that taking an action today is so important. And the eighth wonder of the world, which Einstein said was compound interest on every single action you take in your life. So when you're going through life from now on, and when you're thinking of watching like Netflix today, instead of taking action on your business, instead of picking your niche today, instead of making some phone calls today, instead of being here today, instead of doing anything today, if you put that stuff off, you have no idea what you're doing to your future. You could be putting that stuff off for years, and you want to think like that. It sobers people up when they think like that. And then the 7-figure agency equation, niche times offer equals result. What's the specific group that we're targeting? What's their problem? What's their desired situation? Our offer. What are we offering to them? And what results are we getting? We're grading that. We're trying to get that combination as point on and as powerful as possible, right? We're understanding that this is the most important thing out of everything. This is more important than Facebook ads, more important than YouTube ads, social media, tweeting, or going to speak at some event. This is really everything. If we get this right, you can mess up everything else. And so this pretty much gives you everything you need today in order to build a 7-figure agency.